Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Riveme.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where every week we discuss a piece of superhero television or film. And this week on the podcast, we are talking about the fresh one, the 2021 Mortal Kombat.
We are gonna fight to the death about Mortal Kombat.
Everyone dies except some don't. It's Mortal Kombat. Hi-ya!
You'd be surprised how many people live Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat is what we're talking about this week. We are very excited for it. It's a new release, which is fun.
It is fun because shows have still been kind of creeping in, but
Yeah.
movies are creeping back in. We did Godzilla.
Yeah.
Now we got Mortal Kombat.
Thank you, Warner Brothers and HBO, for working some shit out.
For
and
realizing
actually,
you gotta stream
you
it.
gotta stream it and getting it out right. Doing that just right. We like that.
I don't know if we're counting Justice League as a new release.
Tough
one.
That's a mixed bag. I'm not calling it full fresh shit. You know, hey, it keeps the podcast going. It was something good to cover, but I'm not counting that as like, whoa.
They made new content.
I feel like movies are back. But watching this, there was a moment where I'm like, are movies back, baby?
Oh shit! Is life gonna get back to normal?
Yeah. Like when Tenet came out, that was like the first one where it was like Christopher Nolan was like, movies are back.
And the world was like, not for this.
And cases
nope.
at that time, cases where we live in Toronto were very low. So theaters were open. So we're like, let's go to a theater. And we saw it in a theater and we were still like, movies are not back. But
No.
watching this week at home, I was a little bit like, I'm thinking they're back.
Thinking they're back, baby. Yeah, Mortal Kombat, it knows what it is.
It knows exactly.
It's not trying to reopen movie theaters all in its little lonesome.
As well it shouldn't. It shouldn't. And we are going to give you a quick spoiler-free review. So for those of you who haven't seen it, if you're on the fence, if you're not sure if it's worth your time, or you just want a little taste of the episode before you go watch it, we're going to give you a spoiler-free review. Then, once you hear the theme music, we're going to get into the spoiler-filled section of the episode. But now, for a quick spoiler-free review of Mortal Kombat, Diana, did you like it?
It was fine. Yeah, I liked it fine. It's no 1995's Mortal Kombat. I can't stress that hard enough. It's R-rated, so it's not really campy, and I think that's its biggest loss. These characters are pretty dull. The fights are pretty good, but no one has a personality except Kano. Kano is great. Oh my god, guys. Can't wait for you to watch Kano if you haven't seen this movie. So yeah, the fights are okay, the storyline's just okay, the characters are boring. So yeah, it's a pretty medium like. There's not a lot of like fun. It didn't feel like they had fun making it. And there's not a lot of joy in the film, and there's not a lot of like enjoyment of the R rating. It's a very weird tone. So I'm gonna give it a like. It's not like, oh, this sucks, but I'm like, you're not 1995 Mortal Kombat. That's all I'll say to you for this spoiler-free review. Andrew, did you like it?
I think this movie fucking rips.
What?
I really liked it. I really liked it.
Rips.
It has a couple of flaws that like I will point out later on, but for the most part, I had a great time watching it. I thought it was fun. Nothing about it is revolutionary or reinventing the wheel, but it is really fast-paced and rightfully so because they know that there's frankly not that much of a story to tell. I'm sorry, MK diehards. I know that there is a deep lore and mythos, but for filmmaking storytelling format, there's not a lot to mine here. So it moves at a fast clip. I think it's fun and punchy, and the fight sequences are a combination of well choreographed with good CGI. Like they don't hang their hat too hard on any one specific style. Like this isn't the movie that gives you your Tony Jaa the Protector one take going up a flight of stairs. There is no revolutionary be like, you gotta see what they did with this fight sequence or with this type of CGI or this gunplay. But it is just solid quality from beginning to end. And it's a bunch of different styles, but it's just the right blend. This is a nice buffet where everything is well done for how it should be done. It is a nice sample platter of, I think, everything that an action movie can and should be.
This is blowing my mind because I didn't hate it, but I can't imagine getting to a love on this. The characters are so empty, and like I only kind of like the fight scenes, to be honest, because like you say there's nothing revolutionary.
I never said love. I'm not giving it love.
You
but
said it.
I said it rips. I said it rips.
Rips equals love. You had a smile on your face. You're all energized.
I've had a good time, but
Okay.
because it is nothing special.
Okay.
This is good pizza. Like, this isn't a fancy meal. This isn't anything where I'm like telling my friends, I'm like, you have to see this. This is just I ordered pizza. I got pizza. I fucking have a great time with pizza. This is just right over the plate, and I like it for that. I like it a lot for that.
Okay, fair enough. You were giving me love vibes, which I'm like, I don't want to bring you down, but also I do because I was confused.
Bring me down, though.
No, we're still in the spoiler-free part. We can just
Yeah.
play a little jazz. And
Yeah.
I will say I don't appreciate very much that all the really, really cool things in the fights were all in the trailer. I feel like they didn't save very much
I can agree with that.
for the rest of the movie. Because like the trailer was so cool, and you watch the movie and you're like, oh, I mean, there's still some stuff, but the really cool stuff was all in the trailer.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. All of the whoa moments were all in the trailer. So that's a tough thing. I do agree with you that Kano is the highlight, and I don't like the movie enough that if this movie didn't have Kano in it, and that is the performance that has all of the fun, all of the charm, all of the jokes, anything that's keeping it peppy when they have to talk, it's all Kano. If this movie didn't have Kano, I think it does fall flat, and it is bland mediocrity as opposed
Okay.
to satisfying.
I will 100%.
level?
Now we're on the same page. Because, yeah, Kano elevates every scene. He's bringing joy. He's bringing
Yeah.
energy. He's bringing laughter. He's bringing a sense of excitement. Yeah, Kano is incredibly essential to this film. A thing I never thought I would say about a Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, Josh Lawson, who plays Kano, does a phenomenal performance and brings so much energy to this. And I think it is a combination of like the fight sequences. It is well paced. I think it moves fast. Like it's an hour 50, and I think it goes by pretty quick. It felt breezy to me. Oh, it dragged a little for you,
Dragged
eh?
a little for me.
Okay.
It drags, and I'll tell you why after the spoiler-free section.
Interesting. Okay, we'll get into that in the spoiler section. Before we get into the spoiler section as well, can it be spoiled?
I mean, as much as like any of these movies of who's gonna die can be spoiled,
Right.
So there is some spoilery parts, and yeah, I guess some stuff happens at the end. There could be minor spoilers, but no, you wouldn't be spoiled and then be like, this fight's no good because I know how it ends. Because the fight is the fight.
The fight is
You're
the fight.
there for the fight.
All of the all of the coolest stuff, and maybe spoiler-heavy stuff, is in the trailer.
A lot of it.
And other than that, it is a movie based on the video game Mortal Kombat. I would agree that it is a series of people punch one another until some people win and some people lose.
Spoiler: it's based on the video game.
Yes. You
So
can just
look
pair
out.
off some characters and they'll fight, and that's it. So yeah, I don't think it can be spoiled, really.
Not too hard, no.
No. And before we get into the spoiler-filled section, we want to thank our wonderful sponsor of today's episode. You know them, you love them. It is tpublic.com.
tpublic.com, you're going to wear it on your body and you're going to be like, I look amazing. Oh my God, these shirts are just incredible. They're well made. I can get different fabrics. I can get different colors. I can get millions of designs by indie artists who are putting love and sweat and tears into these beautiful, beautiful designs.
Yes, and they're getting paid for their work as well. So
Even better.
you're getting something unique and cool that an independent artist made that is going to be something catered to your interests and tastes, and an independent artist is going to be supported along the way. And with lots of cool designs on there, like one that I am liking this week, that I'm really digging this week. I actually went, ooh, as soon as I saw it. I was very excited. The shirt's called Goro's Gym. And it is Goro, and all four of his arms are holding weights, and it's like a fun fake gym shirt. But Goro is getting absolutely jacked on the design of this shirt.
You might think Goro is naturally jacked, but Goro has to lift, bro.
Yeah, there has to be out of shape four-armed whatever Goro's species is.
Got a little bit of a belly going on. Got to
Yeah.
get himself back in the game.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, just a little bit of a homebody.
Goro is the most jacked of whatever his species is. And
Yeah.
that's saying something.
Yeah.
My shirt this week, it's a shirt I've done before, but I love it because it's Mortal Kombat and a pun. It's an Iron Maiden album cover, but it says Iron Raiden, and it's Raiden on the cover with a staff and a flag, and he's looking cool.
Classic Raiden.
Who does? Classic Raiden. Just being on album covers. Being dope.
Great guy. And both of those designs, you can find those in our TeePublic store. And when you shop through our store link, not only do you support the artist, but you also support the show directly. And when you find a design you like, you can get it on shirts, long sleeve, laptop cases, cell phone cases, so it doesn't have to be clothing. Go have a look around at teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. That is teepublic.fromsuperheroes.com. And thank you, TeePublic, for your support.
Thanks, TeePublic.
And now let's get into the spoiler-filled section. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
All right, so we have both seen it. We have a difference in opinions, which I feel like it's been a little bit since we came in with different energies.
Yeah,
for a show or movie.
I was very surprised, and especially a surprise different energy. Because sometimes we'll be like, Diana loves this, and Andrew's gonna hate it, and we know it's gonna be a different energy.
Right. We know we're about to record Batman Forever or whatever. Yeah,
like a classic great episode. But I actually didn't get a vibe for you that you liked it this much as we watched it.
I had a really good time with this. This is the right amount of fun for me. I do agree with you. It is weird to compare this to the 95 version because you brought up in the spoiler-free section that this is definitely not camp. And I do miss a little bit of the camp. I don't know if I would rather watch the 95 version or this one, and I think it does depend on the mood. This feels like a much more modern, like Fast and Furious style take on what a Mortal Kombat movie would be, and the 95 version is a very 90s camp, which is fun in its own way. But I like what this new one's bringing to the table.
Okay, because it's very different for me. I will say I have no desire to watch this again, and I would watch the 95 version any day of the week. So it's real different energies. Because I think if you miss the camp, like if you're like, oh, I like this version best, but Kano's the best part, and Kano feels the most 1995 to me of anything in the movie.
Okay.
And I do think it drags while they're like, I think it felt like it dragged because I was just waiting for them to get to the fucking tournament. And you're like, I felt like Milhouse in that episode of Simpsons. Like, when are they going to get to the fireworks factory? And we never have the tournament. So I guess maybe going into that, I might be better on a rewatch. I might be like, oh, they're not going to get to the fireworks factory.
But every second scene's a fight, though.
But it's not the tournament. There's not brackets on the wall. It's so different. It's so different. No, it's not an elimination style tournament. It's just like surviving assassins. That's so different. And people can help you fight. It's not one-on-one. There's no crowds being like, go row, go row, go row. There's no ring girls. No, it needs to be a tournament. It absolutely does. I need rules. I need referees.
The tournament doesn't have either of those.
No, they don't. I'm thinking of Karate
Kid. A man
Kid.
sucks a soul out of another dude's butt. There's no fucking rules.
I guess he could if he wanted to.
You know he has. Shank's so nasty.
Damn, Shang Tsung. I haven't seen this R-rated version of Mortal Kombat.
He huffs butt.
Andrew's making up shit about Shang Tsung now, just slandering this man's name.
That's canon to me.
But yeah, they needed to get to that damn tournament because also the Earth's not on the line if they're not at the tournament.
Okay.
They're just people who are going to die, and we can get new champions when the actual tournament rolls around.
Right. But if the tournament rolls around and we've got champions who are 1 day old champions, that's no good.
I mean, it didn't take Louis Tan very long to get his Arcana.
That's true.
Kano got his in an hour.
That is true.
Oh, Sonya got hers instant.
Fair. Okay.
So I'm not too worried about next level champions, and I want the world to be on the line.
Wow. You really wanted the official tournament.
I like rules. And I like tournaments.
And you didn't like I thought they did a pretty good job of clearly laying out the plot to be like, these assholes are breaking the rules and just killing us before the tournament.
Oh, I got the plot.
Right.
I didn't like it. I understood what was happening. Oh, I'm like, Shang Tsung's cheating? Well, yeah. but we're gonna get to the tournament, right?
So that was the big one for you.
Honestly, that and the song not being there are the biggest.
I will agree with you on the song.
Come on.
I can't argue with you on the song. It is.
What were they thinking?
It is a travesty. I do want to give some credit to the movie and then immediately shit on it for its soundtrack, because I actually do think this has a banging soundtrack. Like, its score is fucking I really love the music of this movie.
Okay.
I think it absolutely crushes it. The composer, I'd have to look up his name. I actually forget it because I was looking it up to be like, I need to listen to this on my own. Benjamin Wallfish, who I'm not even familiar with as a composer before this for scores and soundtracks, but I'm gonna have to familiarize myself with his work because I thought it was killer. They do have one remix of the original Mortal Kombat song
At the very end.
in the Octagon fight.
Did they?
Yeah, I could tell that you weren't noticing that one.
You gotta really make it clear. I heard it in the credits.
Oh no, it plays in the Octagon fight, but it's a remix of the original song, which is something. But I think this is a great score and soundtrack. But I do think that you just use the original song, no remix, no changes made whatsoever. The original song is fucking flawless and iconic.
It's everything. At the very least, you don't have to use the whole song. You gotta use that motherfucker yelling Mortal Kombat, though.
Yes.
Even if you're gonna like remix it afterwards and like make it like way less energy, which is kind of like how this whole movie felt to me compared to 95. You gotta have that guy just scream Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely.
Like when Scorpion appeared from hell, I was like, this is where they're gonna do it. They're gonna scream Mortal Kombat right now. And they didn't scream Mortal Kombat.
They didn't.
So those are my two, and I couldn't say this in the spoiler free because it's weird to say things that weren't there feel like spoilers, but they do. Feels like a spoiler to say there's no song, and it feels like a spoiler to say there's no
You keep waiting for the
tournament.
song. And when I heard the remix, I was like, oh, this is fun. But I looked over at you, I'm like, Diana's not noticing that it's the remix. And that in itself is a problem. That I know that you don't normally notice music, but you should notice, or they should have made a soundtrack where you notice that this is at least a noticeable remix of the original song.
I don't notice music. So when I do notice music, you've made some killer music.
Yeah.
You've made the Mortal Kombat song.
Right.
You've made Space Jam.
Yeah.
Like, you've made a great song if I'm like, there's a song in this.
Yeah. The composer also did Blade Runner 2049, It, and a few other movies with good scores and soundtracks.
Now, I will say what I liked score-wise. I didn't notice this alt Mortal Kombat, but I guess I assume it's the same guy who does this part, which is like how every time Sub-Zero showed up, it's just a horror movie for that scene.
Right.
And then the music switches very much to like, this is a horror movie. You're watching like Jason walk through a house murdering a family.
Yeah.
So they set a very good tone with the different musics for him. For like, no one else really felt like horror movie, but he would come into the scene. You're like, oh, this guy's gonna kill everybody.
And that's where I think, like, looking at the catalog that this composer made of there's It and Saw and very traditional horror shit, but then there's also stuff like Blade Runner 2049 and this kind of like techno futurist like different type of pacing. And I think that was the right combination of styles for this movie. And it's just, you don't fuck with that original song. It's like John Williams' Superman score. Like, we don't need another Superman like song ever, period, because the John Williams score is the Superman song. So shut it all down.
Or when you do change it, you like only change it a slight bit and you still make it very noticeable. You still have a guy screaming Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So I agree with you that the lack of song is a huge blaring omission of this movie.
Excellent.
But we talked a bit about one of the huge positives, which is Joss Lawson as Kano. Absolutely lighting up the screen and dripping it with charm and charisma for the worst possible guy.
The worst, like the guy you don't want to root for the most in this movie, and you're like, God damn it, you're hilarious. But you're not in a comedy.
Yeah.
You're so funny, and you are holding these scenes together and like keeping it fresh and fun and moving.
And a character with the thinnest margin of error, where you literally do that 1 degree off. If you give that performance the wrong twang, like just the wrong hint of anything, and it goes to unbearable, creep, and I'm miserable when this character is on screen. Like on the page, the way this character is written, it's razor thin to get that performance right.
It's razor thin. They did a couple really smart things that they did because it's R-rated especially, so it's very easy to get Kano wrong because he can be racist, he can be sexist, he can do whatever he wants in an R-rated Mortal Kombat movie. And he's a little bit sexual toward Liu Kang and Kung Lao in like one scene. He's kind of a dick. He's like, lick my balls or something like that. He's never sexual towards Sonya though. He's always treats her like he hates her, but as an equal. And I think that was very smart because I think being sexual towards Sonya would have been the line.
Oh, okay.
To make him like too much of a creep and we don't want to root for him and we don't like him. But he hates her because she's a good fighter and she beat him up. And he doesn't dislike her because she's a woman or say anything sexual or gross about that. And I think that might be what kept him above board of still being fun. And he had an eye laser.
Eye laser helps.
And he was so excited about his eye laser.
Eye laser don't hurt one bit. I like that. And yeah, just I agree with you. Him drawing, or the writers drawing the line with that type of attention towards Sonya, I think was the right direction to take this character in, which differentiates itself from the 95 version in a much more appropriate and while being the one that's R-rated, more friendly type of way that's also more entertaining at the same time.
Yeah, it's a line they could have easily crossed because, Kano is quite sexist in the PG-13 version in 95, but they just were like, oh, I think that would be too much. You're going to be, like, oddly wholesome in your jerkiness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put his character in this area of, like, you're a jerk, but you're kind of cool at what you do. He gave me an energy of Claw from Andy Serkis' performance of Claw in the MCU. Just that very similar, like, I run underground shit and I'm kind of a grimy asshole vibe.
Yeah, they did that. Another character trait, and he felt like one of the few characters who had character traits. I like that he is constantly fooled by people with no money.
Right.
It's just offer him money and he'll do whatever you want. Sonya doesn't have $3 million. Cabal comes to him and he's like, you'll get so much money from Shang Tsung. I'm like, you think Shang Tsung has a bank account?
Right.
You think Shang Tsung has cash money?
They're from the Nether Realm. They're not
They're not from this
outer
planet.
world. Yeah, they're not even from the world that you are on.
You think Shang Tsung's got Wi-Fi and some Bitcoin waiting for you over there,
Yeah.
buddy? No. Kano, he's got no money.
No cash.
But I like that twice he falls for it not having any money. He's like, sure, whatever you want.
He's just following random people around. But that energy really works. And it also kind of makes him... It's weird that he's the comedic relief character, but he's also the voice of the audience as well. And that's a very strange thing to do with the asshole that we're rooting against that is also our voice. Just his commentary on everything, just like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, someone being like, you're mad right now. Be like, oh, you're pretty fucking observant, ain't you? Like him just yelling things that are happening and being the only big reaction, but he is reiterating the reaction that audiences should be having to this, like, fantastical moment. And that's a weird choice, but it works that he's the comedic relief, but he's also the voice of the audience.
It does work, and I agree, and it makes it very jarring in scenes where he's not in when big things happen because he's at the temple and he's like, whoa, that guy shoots fire, and he's amazed by everything, and he wants his own powers, and he's very energized. So then it's glaringly different when we get to, like, a scene like when Lewis Tan meets Goro.
Right.
A monster with 4 arms that has not appeared in this movie until this point. And Lewis Tan is just like, oh no. Like there's no giant reaction to Goro. Even the family's kind of just acts like it's another person trying to kill them, not like it's a huge freakish monster that no one's ever seen before. So like scenes without Kano to be the audience point of view, you really missed him, I found. But he was so good at it.
He was so good at it. Yeah, that does lead me to, I want to talk about Lewis Tan's performance as the lead character of this, Cole Young, one of the few characters who's not from the video game.
I think the only one.
Yeah, him, his wife and child, but his
but
family.
Everyone related to him is new.
Exactly. So him being the only people not from the video game. And I think Lewis Tan does a good performance, but you're right, that is one flaw, I think, big flaw with the writing of his character, is that he never has a big reaction. His family never has a big reaction. He is the only non-video game character, the most grounded in reality character that we have in every possible sense of the word. And someone tries to kill him down the street with hail. And that isn't big enough to fully buy into, holy shit, we're in this world now. Like, that isn't... You have to go big right off the bat if you don't want your character to freak out at other things later. Like, if you open with Goro smashes through his wall, and then after that he's like, all right, there's a guy with ice. Like, you can kind of be chill at less crazy things, but just hail hitting your car could be a movie where the military has some kind of weather controlling technology, or it could be a literal Merlin wizard or something like that.
Or it could be a Captain Cold ice gun. Like, he never sees the ice come out of his hands. He just sees a lot of ice hit his car.
A lot of ice hits his car, and then his next logical step is like, guy with 4 arms? Makes sense? Like, it doesn't quite put him on the right path for...
Gonna go to India, find a hidden temple.
Yeah, for literally what is supposed to be the everyman.
Yeah, I'll agree. Yeah, he didn't have big enough responses to anything. And he's not like a Liu Kang. He wasn't raised to be a champion. He knows nothing about it. So some bigger responses, I think, would have been really fun. Some Kano-like stuff from any other character.
Yeah, because he does respond to everything like he's Liu Kang. Like he knows about all of the myths to be like, oh, of course, the legacy of the Khan line. This is Goro, the 4-armed winner of the last Mortal Kombat. Like, it's just as if he inherently knows all of this stuff.
But they don't hint like maybe it's because of his Mortal Kombat like heritage or like his lineage or whatever. Nothing like that. I mean, he's been having dreams, but he hasn't been having dreams of Mortal Kombat.
Dreams that inform him.
Yeah, he's just been having dreams about a rope dart and his dead grandfather.
That said, I do like his familial connection. I do like who he is as a character. I do like his performance. His stunts are great and are visibly him. He's really dedicated to this role.
When he did the jump from the car over the fence?
Yeah.
And that was just him?
Just one long take of him doing a little roll.
Huge jump. Mm-hmm. That was massive. Like, and not part of a fight. Just like, how am I going to get into this place? I'll just jump over the fence, guys. Like, it felt like Louis Tan just decided to jump over the fence off a car.
It really does feel like that.
It was really cool. Yeah, his fight scenes are incredible. I mean, everyone's are pretty good. I can't think of a bad one.
I agree. Everyone's are pretty good.
Honestly, I think my only complaint of fights in the entire thing was the very first fight where Scorpion is just killing henchmen. The blood looked awful.
Oh, I never really noticed that.
Oh, the fake blood looked real bad. All the blood spurting out of everyone. And I think to the point where they didn't even really do blood spurts for anyone else later.
Okay.
It was all like your blood's frozen or your arms are gone and the blood's just leaking out. And, or you've been stabbed in the
Implications of blood.
Like, there was blood, but not like the you've been shot spurts. Like when you get a rope dart in the head. It didn't happen anymore. That would be my only complaint. But the choreographies were all really good.
Now, what do you think of kind of opening with that, of the underlying story of this movie being the Scorpion Sub-Zero feud?
I like the idea. I don't love the end execution of it. I was very surprised Louis Tan wasn't Scorpion in the end.
I fully agree.
Right? Like, at the end, you guys just double team Sub-Zero, which would be cheating in the tournament. They just both fought him. But yeah, like, I didn't feel like we knew enough about the conflict to like care that he came back from hell. So like, it was a great way to open it, and it's a great way to get Louis Tan as like a lineage part of Mortal Kombat, and that was very interesting. And I like the dreams, and I like passing on the rope dart. It was just really surprising he didn't end up being Scorpion. Like, I thought his like grandfather's soul would just like go into him or something, and like inhabit his body maybe.
I thought the exact same thing.
Because you're a soul. So that was confusing, but it was a cool idea.
Yeah, I fully agree that was very confusing. I'll agree on all points. I love the feud. I love everything. Thought he was going to get inhabited by Scorpion. And I thought they were building to, because Raiden gives him the rope dart, and he like tucks it into the back of his waist and doesn't use it for a long time. And he's getting these dreams. And I kept getting the impression, I'm like, once he uses that rope dart, then the spirit of his ancestors are going to come through him, and he is going to become the Scorpion. But it just, But instead, at the end, and this whole build to be like he's losing his MMA fights at the beginning of the movie, and they're like, you need to use the cage, you need to work defense. And the end fight is in an octagon, and he doesn't use those tactics.
No,
Instead,
he just tags in
his
his uncle.
great grandfather from hell comes and fights the main villain instead. And that's a really weird ending. I don't know why he wasn't inhabited by his ancestor.
Yeah, and he had to be, and like he got to leave hell when his grandson just cut his hand on his weapon. That's not how leaving hell works. No. If your grandson maybe embodies you, or like the second his arcana blows up.
Yeah?
Maybe the second his arcana explodes and he becomes Scorpion, you can inhabit his body.
Right.
Via arcana. I don't know. Some kind of arcana-based travel. So yeah, very surprising. Like he even could have turned into the actor who eventually plays Scorpion and just turned back afterwards or something.
Fully agree with that.
But when he got like Black Panther-esque armor that absorbs hits, I was like, what's going on? Does Scorpion have this?
And the armor that absorbed hits never really did anything with it in like an energy burst or like a Black Panther-y type of thing. It was just, it felt like they kept building to something with that, and then they never actually did anything with it.
Well, with Goro, it was like absorbing energy, but with Sub-Zero, it wasn't. Now, I feel like Sub-Zero maybe knew it was doing that and was so good at strategy, he was like, oh, I'm going to just hit you with ice and not with any physical blows that will like power you up.
Right.
I do think maybe it powered up the uppercut he hit Goro with.
Maybe.
But it wasn't very clear.
Yeah.
It wasn't as clear as when Black Panther's suit just explodes with energy.
Yeah.
Which
you,
is what
you charge
it
it up
looked
and it
like.
explodes. It looked like they were building to that. Yeah, a real strange outfit and style for him that they gave him.
Yeah. I'm glad we agree on this.
Yeah.
Excellent. Because it is a neat idea of a different way to do a Mortal Kombat character and a legacy of Scorpion.
Yeah.
But it's just it's not a very fair fight at the end, 2-on-1.
Especially when, he's the lead character of this movie. And the core of this movie is this rivalry between these two clans, even though Mortal Kombat is happening almost as a backdrop thing.
Yeah, because they're not in Mortal Kombat in the opening. That's just, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate this guy.
I fucking hate this guy. Presumably, that guy was winning Mortal Kombats back in the day or whatever. I assume they've always had these same sides. But yeah, it worked as a clan rivalry. It worked as a legacy character, and then literally someone else fights his battles for him at the end.
Yeah. It really made you not feel like he was the lead, which can work in a true ensemble.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like an ensemble movie. This felt like Louis Tan is the lead of this movie.
Yeah, I fully agree.
I will say, to get to one more positive, and this broke my heart, because my two favorite characters both died. I loved Kung Lao.
Kung Lao was fucking great.
I don't really know Kung Lao. I think I've only played him like once in the games. I don't think he was in the game I owned of Mortal Kombat. I think he's like a later guy, maybe.
Is
he?
No, not
know.
too late. I think he's 2 or 3. Like, he's not in the first one, but 2 or 3.
I thought this guy nailed it and was like perfectly fun. First of all, he didn't do that teleport up from the hat thing enough. Because that, like, he only did it once, and I wanted to see more of that. But just, like, after he'd, like, fight or do anything, the way he stood and, like, touched his hat and twirled it around, like, it should have been so lame, because Kano kept saying it was lame, but I'm like, it's so fucking cool. This guy's cool. I really liked him. He was my favorite character next to Kano. Only one who died. I'm so bad at picking favorite characters.
Yeah.
You can kind of feel it going in, though. I'm like, oh, this is the only guy not from the first movie series? Yeah, you're probably going to die.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. Well, villains, but the only hero guy not from the first movie
the only
series.
new hero guy other than Louis Tan. So I didn't think he had a chance. But
Right.
I felt he really got the energy of Mortal Kombat. He had the best fatality.
And one straight from the video game.
And that was
the razor blade hat spinning into the ground and like riding through it like it's a table saw.
And the only one that I didn't feel they spoiled in the trailers.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one in the trailers either.
So that was very nice. Like, he had a really great kill, didn't get spoiled in the trailers. He really embodied the character, felt the fun, but also kind of the darker tone they were going for. I thought he super nailed it. I feel like the exact same thing I felt like in the first movie. Shang Tsung shouldn't get to take your soul if you didn't lose a fight.
They don't follow rules.
He didn't even get hit once. He had a flawless victory.
Yeah.
And then he lost his soul.
That is, you know what? He should have at least been injured. You got me there, because he can fight back against Shang Tsung.
Yeah, Shang Tsung just did like a forced choke grab, and he gets his soul.
That is bullshit.
That's bullshit.
And also, we get nothing from Shang Tsung the whole movie.
Shang Tsung sucked.
He took a soul that he didn't even use or do anything with.
No, he didn't even like taunt Liu Kang with it. Like, I got your cousin's soul.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe that would be like a movie 2 thing during the actual tournament.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, he sucked in many ways. I wasn't thrilled by this performance of Chin Han. But also, like, I think the costume looked really bad. I think everything in Outworld looked very much like Rita talking to her minions in Power Rangers. Like, it had real cheap vibes. Like,
Right.
Goldar, let's fight the Power Rangers. Like, it was... I didn't think any of those parts looked good at all.
Yeah, I think they did make some fuck-ups with the villains. There are some points in this movie where you can tell they've edited out some stuff for time. And rightfully so, because I think an hour 50
length.
is the right length, and it's peppy, and it's the right energy. And we don't need character development for the fucking winged bat in Outworld, or like the guy who has hammer. I'm hammer guy. Like, get out, no one cares. So I agree with you that I agree that they should have edited that stuff out, but there are seams that show, and there is stuff edited out for sure from the Outworld sections that kind of make it more. And I think the edited stuff makes it more cartoony, and it makes it more Rita Repulsor and Power Rangers-y. There was one moment that stood out to me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" There's clearly something deleted there, and it's strange. And it's when they're in Outworld, and Shang Tsung's like gathering all of them up. And it's the first time we see Cabal. Cabal, the one with the gas mask, who's Kano's friend. And Shang Tsung or someone is like, "What do you think of her, my warrior?" Gesturing to Natara, the lady with wings. And Cabal's like, "Oh, her screeches? I hate them. What's up with that screech? Was I supposed to like that?" She hadn't made a sound yet. There was a scene deleted where she did some horrifying siren screech, but they either edited out that scene and they never put the sound. So just a character quietly walks into the room and Kamal's like, "Oh, that voice, the screech of the siren, the call that makes my ears." And then they just cut to a new scene. And it was so fucking weird.
I don't even remember her screeching ever.
She has one later because I was waiting the whole movie for it to be like,
on.
what was Cabal talking about?
Let me hear the scream.
And it was just a normal scream. Like, it was one where, like, you know, it wasn't human words, but she was flying down and was like, "Ah!" And, like, that was it.
Cabal's just a little sensitive.
I guess.
Cabal's got sensitive ears. Everyone knows.
Yeah, so just little stuff like that where I'm like, well, something was edited out there.
That's great. I feel like Cabal was also... I didn't understand. That was one of the few moments I felt lost. Like, because I know the character's pretty, like, medium well. And Cabal was one I was just like, "You're human, but you're an Outworld already?"
Yeah, I can't remember his backstory. He was one that I used to main in MK3, I think, when he first showed up. Or maybe it was 4. But either way, I used to main Cabal. And I think he's a cool character and he's interesting, but clearly... I think Cabal is one of the ones that has several scenes deleted because there's more personality to him than anyone else, and he's definitely meant to be the Outworld Kano and is part of the Black Dragons, which is Kano's clan or whatever. So I think he has some personality-building stuff that's been deleted from this movie, which I'm okay with, but it does make it a weird bit of a blank spot around him.
Yeah, I was just a little confused because it didn't seem like Outworld should have any humans yet, but I guess we're in like the 9th tournament by now, so they've been around.
They've captured some losses. Shang Tsung's got some souls. There's some shit happening. One thing that this movie did really well that isn't for everyone, and I like that it's not for everyone because I like that it's unobtrusive, is that they did a lot of little video game Easter eggs and seeds in ways that I thought was very honorable and unobtrusive.
Okay,
so
like probably like the necklace Kano stole, I assume, was something.
Necklace Kano stole, and that was a very classic, like the trophy room in Thor.
You're just looking at everything on the wall.
Yeah, you're looking at stuff, and like it doesn't have a plot effect, but he stole the that like amulet, which I think belongs either to Shinnok or Quan Chi, and I think it can bring people back from the dead. So we may not have seen the last of Kano if he did actually steal it. It's a great
Kano.
way.
I was gonna say Kung Lao.
Well, Kano was the one stealing it.
Yeah.
So that gem / amulet or whatever, I believe it belongs to either Shinnok or Quan Chi, and I think it can bring people back from the dead. So maybe we haven't seen the last of Kano if they want to bring him back. If they don't, maybe he didn't steal it, whatever. But little things like that where I'm like, oh, well, that's a fun thing. It was Katana's fan was
at
there.
Some point. I assume everything on Sonya's wall.
On Sonya's wall of tracking down people with like Nightwolf, one of the characters from the games, was on the wall. Another one of the cons, I think, was there. So just like fun little Easter eggs in the right way for something that's based on a pre-existing property that not a lot of people know the deep lore of, where it's like, here's some stuff that's fun. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, no one's getting obsessed or getting confused about the plot because they didn't know Nightwolf's backstory for that one piece of paper that was on the board or whatever. Like, that, I think, is the right level of these type of Easter eggs to do.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah, it felt very Odin's throne room from Thor. Just like little things. If you want to look at them, you can. If not, they're just fights. They're just tapestries of fights. You don't need to know who these guys are. It was. They did it the right way. Everything except introducing all of Shang Tsung's soldiers. He was just like, you're here, and you're here, and this is your name. Oof. They might as well have had name tags on.
Yeah, and they were some deeper cut villains too. They were some ones where I'm like, what the hell? Like Nataro or whatever. I was like, I gotta look you up.
Melina. Rico?
Melina I knew, but Natara and Rico or Rico I did not know. So I was like, oh yeah, we got Melina, we got Cabal, and we got, oh yeah, these two, like the other two.
And Nick, tell me two other henchmen he's got.
Give me two other people
that he can lose in this movie before he gets to the next one and has cooler guys.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised you lost Goro this movie.
I am surprised by that as well. Goro looked pretty good.
He looked pretty good. Yeah, he looked like if Hulk had 4 arms.
Okay, yeah. I could see that.
No, I was just like, oh yeah, Hulk with 4 arms. This makes perfect sense.
Goro was the one that, of all the CGI in this movie, even though it was done well, it took me a moment to adjust, just because the 95 Goro was such a good prosthetic and actual physical object that it was almost upsetting to see a CGI Goro. I wanted to see an animatronic or person in a costume.
I absolutely agree. He didn't look bad, but when they made a really like slow reveal of him, like first they just show his shadow in Outworld, then you just see his hands coming out of the shed. I was like, oh my God, is it gonna be a robot? Is it like for a second I thought it might be the robot, like a better robot?
For a second, I thought the same, but I thought it would be the same robot. I was expecting like literally the identical version from 95 to walk out. And I would have been really fucking on board for that, actually.
I'm definitely not against the same robot. Like, this guy looked good, but he was the only one who was fully CG. Every other person was like, I'm Melina. I look human, but just my mouth does this wide thing.
Right.
I'm the dragon lady whose body is human, but I have wings. So Goro was the only one who didn't have any humanness to him at all, like just completely CG'd. So it did take him out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because even Reptile is like going in and out of visibility, so you can't even really tell what he looks like. So and he even felt more scaled and just like a big crocodile, so he felt more real than Goro did.
Yeah.
I also really loved how they killed Reptile.
I loved that Reptile fight sequence. Like
sticking a flare in him with a knife, that's fucking great.
So fucking cool.
And that whole scene, like she hit Kano with a knife and he was so mad about it.
Really delightful.
That was my knife.
And him just muttering shit in the background is terrific. We love a good person off frame muttering shit in the background. That always tickles us. Yeah, I think the Reptile fight was killer. So many of the fights though were a really good time. Like the initial fight, Jackson Sub-Zero, even when he gets his arms broken, I thought that was like a brutal and pretty cool fight sequence.
I guess that one was all right. That one didn't really stick with me. That was mostly just he lost his arms. And then it was over, it felt like to me. So that one didn't stick out to me. I loved the Reptile fight. I liked all the training fights. Yeah,
I liked Kung Lao. I liked the OG original Scorpion Sub-Zero fight.
Oh, that was pretty good.
I liked Scorpion and Sub-Zero Redux, even though I don't like how it got there in the plot. I liked the choreography and how that fight was set up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they ruined it in the trailer, but making a blade out of a dude's blood and then stabbing him with that blade, that's cool. One of the coolest moves I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
That is just really dope. So yeah, some of the fights are really great. Although I hate to say I'm struggling to come up with other fights that happened. Oh, it was very fast, but I thought Kano and Sonya before they had powers in the desert.
I was just about to bring that up. I was actually going to bring up Kano and Sonya in the final fight where she's in the little hidey holes popping up and stabbing them.
Oh, and she's like, I don't have powers, but I got fast little hidey holes.
Loved that.
Yeah, both of their fights were really good. I like Desert Fight because it was more of a it was clean, like kind of not a one take, but there weren't a lot of edits. It was very much like we learned some quick choreography, the two of us, and we did it all in one take. And I think those fights are more interesting to me. But the quick cuts to his shins and his Achilles coming out of little holes. Love that.
Love it.
Love that. And I liked Sonya's journey. I did find it interesting that they gave the journey Sonya was on felt like the journey of a lead character of trying to prove herself and get a mark and become a champion. So I thought that was very interesting to give to more of a side character, this kind of proving herself. And Lewis Tan is this guy who has been losing fights, but doesn't have to prove himself really. And I'm like, why have you been losing fights? I don't understand. Why aren't you a good fighter anymore? And Sonya's working so hard to get in this. She can't even go in the training ring.
Yeah. I agree with you. They've given kind of a flimsy story arc to this lead guy, Cole Young, but Sonya and Jax have a better story arc.
Oh, Jax, yeah, having to find his own strength again and kind of find who he is without his arms.
Redefine himself a little bit as well after a loss, after they've been fighting fights together, them not giving up on one another as well, the friendship between the two.
Yeah, having to pull a rock off someone and that opens your arcana, that's real nice.
That's real nice.
That's a real nice move.
And also, these two have been doing fucking phenomenal work. When you consider the fact that Liu Kang, it seems, has been trained there for a long ass time. He has been prepping for the better part of the 10 years since the last tournament for this tournament, it would seem. Maybe 8 years he's been there.
Yeah. And he's just doing this.
Yeah. And even he says, he's we're trying to find warriors. We're collecting the warriors to train for the tournament, which is next week. And they've got a total of 2. They've got 2 training
and those
for the
two
thing
live there.
And those 2 live there. And Kung Lao is a legacy. His ancestors fight in the tournament. So he's never left. So Liu Kang found 1 himself. That is it. They are at a net positive of 1 combatant. Jax, Sonya, Kano, and the new guy, Cole Young, are all collected. Sonya Blade collects a team of 4 and then gets her own marking. She collects 5. She does better than the Lord of Thunder, Raiden.
Yeah, she basically saves the world.
Yes.
Yeah, she gets more people together than Raiden or Liu Kang. Liu Kang does say he found Jax later when his arms were already gone. So he's kind of late to the game. I feel like he's been showing up.
Oh, I guess they did find Jax's body injured in the
and then he saved him
and
he brought him back. So I feel like Liu Kang probably off screen has been getting there too late for everyone Sub-Zero's kill. He's been too late again. Damn it. He's just behind this guy probably. But yeah, Sonya is doing incredible work. And Jax apparently, because he already has a mark, it sounds like he already killed someone from Outworld. Because Sonya said he killed a weird guy.
Oh.
She didn't say Jax killed a regular dude.
Okay.
She said and I don't know, I couldn't figure out who it was. She didn't give a lot of details, but she said it was not a monster. Maybe she might have said the word monster. It was very throwaway.
I don't remember how she described the person they killed. I do remember her saying they killed someone.
And Jax received a mark.
But I thought I remembered her saying monster in a colloquial Earth sense to be it was a child trafficker or warlord or something.
Oh, no. I thought she killed a monster because then Reptile attacks a second later. So I assumed it was an Outworlder thing.
But the Outworlders don't have the mark.
Oh, do they not?
Outworlders don't have the mark. I don't think, this is not a video game thing. The mark thing is something they made up for this. In the video games, it's just Hollywood actor Johnny Cage fucking kicks a goddamn Goro monster. There's no rhyme or reason to it from what I understand. But in this movie, they never bring up markers for the Outworld contestants because it's Earth defending the invasion of Earthrealm. And the Earth Warriors are chosen. But Cabal and Sub-Zero, they don't have markings.
I guess. Or if they did, it wouldn't matter because everyone who kills one of them already has a marking.
I guess, yeah.
So maybe they do.
Until Sonya kills Kano, but Kano is supposed to be one of Earth's defenders, and he's defected.
I don't know if that counts. Now that's confusing to me.
That is confusing, but Kano is one of ours. Kano's an Earth guy.
Kano's an Earth
Unquestionably,
guy.
Kano's an Earth dude.
But it seems like he would have been able to fight for the bad guys. He fought for the bad guys in the 95 version.
He's allowed to fight, I guess, for the bad guys, but he was chosen for Earth, and he just is a dick.
That's true. Yeah, I think I'd need more information because I don't feel like they proved they didn't have Arcanas, but you're right, they didn't show that they did. So this is Schrodinger's Arcana.
This is
all over again.
This is, yeah. And I liked the actress who played Sonya Blade, and Mikael Brooks, who plays Jax, got jacked.
Oh my God, he was not this big on Smallville. Like in Smallville, not Smallville, Supergirl. On Supergirl, like he was in shape. He had a couple shirtless scenes, and he was like, "Yes, I have some defined muscles." But whoa,
he was toned on Supergirl. He was toned.
I was like, "Oh, you go to the gym."
Yeah.
And not you are the gym.
Yeah.
You are. There's a treadmill inside of you.
Right. This man is the gym.
Oh, you want to go to the gym? This is Jax. He's the gym.
He's the goddamn gym.
Yeah, he got huge.
Huge.
Like he must, because I knew he left Supergirl. I don't know if it was to do this, but to do other things. But now because it was earlier than this movie was made, but now I'm like, oh, you left Supergirl early to get in shape for Mortal Kombat because you had to get crazy jacked for this.
You had to get jacked. You had to get Jax.
Yeah, like he looks like The Rock.
Yeah.
Giant.
Big ass dude.
Absolutely big.
I still find it surprising that you're not more into this movie, but it is what it is. It has this... It is produced by James Wan, who did some of the Fast and Furious movies.
Which I like.
Yeah, and it has that sense of modern, peppy, popcorn movie pace that I really enjoy, where it's just like, did this work? And if it didn't, they're just like, fuck it, here's another scene. What about this? Now Goro's here. It'd be like, there's an invisible reptile. We're fighting that. Is that anything? Do you like that? What about a fight in the desert? Hand to hand. It just feels very like peppy and quick and fun. And I
get
really
what you're
like the
saying,
energy.
and I just think it's missing things that I like. Like, you know, if you're talking Fast and the Furious, I love the relationships in Fast and the Furious. I love the humor in Fast and the Furious. And this movie has, like, no relationships, really, except for Jax and Sonya a little bit. And Jax is unconscious for most of the movie. Which was why I was so sad about Kung Lao, because him and Liu Kang are cousins. And I'm like, oh, they're family, and they're going to fight side by side. And then Kung Lao died. And I'm like, well, this was what I was invested in. I was invested in these guys, because Kung Lao came to save Liu when, like, Shang Tsung showed up for a second. So that's what I was invested in and what the movie's missing. I think there's no one else other than Kano who's fun. There's no good guys who are fun.
Right.
Which I think is a big loss. So I'm not just in movies for action scenes. I need to feel something for the characters, and these characters are kind of blah.
Now, did you enjoy this enough that obviously their intention is to make several of these movies?
Damn right, they better be, because there's no tournament.
So you're in for another movie, is what you're saying.
I'm definitely in for another movie because... Definitely for a next one, especially because I feel like Johnny Cage is the next Kano.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely. Like, Johnny Cage was lacking here. Kano kind of made up for the humor that Johnny Cage brings. So I feel like even though Kano's gone, the next movie would be Johnny Cage heavy, and I would very much enjoy that. So I feel like I can, and if him and, like, Louis Tan have a really fun relationship or something, like, just give me what I want. I want fun relationships with my fun fight scenes.
Yeah, and they really could build a relationship between all of these people now with a level of history that they all have. Like, Sonya and Jax have a pre-existing history, but now they have one with the group, with Jax saving and taking the hit for Cole and saving his family in that initial chase scene. Yeah, Liu Kang with this like anger and rage towards Shang Tsung for taking his cousin's soul, which is also like this great, I think that is just straight from the video games as well, that is like this like familial connection and anger, and I think that that's a powerful driving force. So I think they could mine these human relationships a little more.
What was up with Liu Kang getting his mark when he killed a child trafficker? That was pretty random, right?
It was random, and it was hard to follow the story that he was telling, frankly.
He was so vague about it.
Because he was like, I was in trouble, but then I wasn't, but then they adopted me here. But then I went out. But then I killed a child trafficker. But then I got the mark. But then I came here for the mark training. But the order of the events was really hard to follow. I didn't quite know what exactly was going on in his story.
I agree. It felt like they didn't want to say like child sex trafficker, so they kept things vague, and then like too vague. I don't know what your story is, Liu Kang. I know you killed a guy who I think hurt kids, but I don't know if he gave you the mark or if that woke up. No, that woke up his Arcana. He already had the mark.
Oh, okay.
He already had the mark, and that's why he went to the school. And then he met the child trafficker and killed him, and that kind of, whatever the child trafficker did, caused his Arcana to blow up.
Okay.
I think that's what happened. But it just seemed like such a dark story for Liu Kang.
Really dark.
I know that, like, and it felt like the only, like, really, like, R-rated thing that was spoken, because the R-ratedness of this movie doesn't feel like it matches the rest of the movie. This feels like a PG-13 movie that they added R fights into.
And that actually might explain why in that opening fight sequence you mentioned that the blood doesn't look good to you. It wasn't something I was looking for or noticed at the time. But I'm willing to bet that they made a few different edits and played around to see with like what rating is Warner Brothers going to allow us to get? Is this going to be an NC-16 or like what is happening here? And I think maybe they got the approval for it to go full R and rushed some visual effects just to kind of push the boundary of that, but it wasn't in its DNA from the beginning.
Yeah, no one's fighting in an R way. Like no one's like, yeah, limbs are gone. It doesn't feel like it's in the blood of the movie that this is an R-rated film.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah. I'm glad that it is R-rated because like the fatalities do work and it is cool, but a little unexpected. The guy who plays Liu Kang, Ludi Lin, holy shit.
Jacked in a very different way than McCad Brooks.
An old school, like, Bruce Lee, like, fully cut. Like,
yes,
he is cut.
I have removed all fat and most of the muscle from my body, but in a way that has made me a perfect killing machine.
I was just about to say killing machine.
Just a murder machine.
Yeah, his body has just no inefficiency. It is designed 100% top to bottom for murder.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it is.
When he, like, I think he was wearing a shirt the first time we saw him, and then he has a fight scene with no shirt. And we were both just like, whoa, Bruce Lee's here. What the hell is happening? Your arms are crazy.
Because, like, it is a different type and from a different era of action hero as well. Like, that is a body type you don't really see in action movies anymore because it's about, like, toned and fitness and getting like larger to a certain degree, especially in Americanized action movies. But this is an old Bruce Lee, like pure, just dehydrated murder machine body type that was kind of fucking sincerely scary, but in like an impressive way to see on film because I can't recall the last time someone looked like this since Bruce Lee.
Yeah, because it's not about just having popping abs, which is why most most guys get dehydrated in movies now. Like, you know, we want to see Chris Evans' abs. We want to see Thor's abs.
Yeah.
But this wasn't about abs. And like the abs were there. But like everything was there. Everything rippled.
Those back wings where you can just see like the individual lines going from like your spine to your shoulders.
Every muscle had been worked to hell.
Yeah, and that is a very like I could do actual damage in a human street fight kind of a body.
Oh yeah, like
I know nothing of this guy and his background. Like, I know nothing of Ludi Lin's background, but just from that scene alone, I'm like, this guy could actually kill a man in a bar fight.
He looked incredible. Like, I believed he'd been raised to be a killer. Mm-hmm. Just looking at his whatever. Hasn't he already done, like, a big movie?
Power Rangers. He was one of the Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, and he was in Aquaman as well.
Yes, as Captain Merc, a character I've got nothing for in Aquaman.
And you just rewatched that movie.
Yeah, just recently.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, I don't know who the hell Merc was, but good on you, Merc.
But damn, Ludi Lin.
Yeah.
Damn.
Impressive body. Mm-hmm. How you feeling about Mortal Kombat? I feel like I'm Mortal Kombated out, but what do you got? What else you got to say?
I got one more thing.
Lay it on me.
That I kind of like I'm very conflicted about the idea of these Arcanas. I think it's kind of cool. And I also think it's kind of dumb because I think it's cool that there's chosen ones and like you have to go to the tournament. And it seems I like that it's more of a rule than Raiden just being like, you're pretty good. What about
Right.
you? I'm just pointing at people that he sees.
And it creates more of a like an interesting Highlander type of backstory to be like how you're here and stuff like that.
It does. Inheriting a mark seems very dumb to me. Inheriting a mark seems to be like the gods of Mortal Kombat were like, oops, I guess you sucked. If you get a mark and then before the tournament even starts, someone kills you, they get your mark. And that just feels like there is no destiny. There was no chosen ones. Like, it didn't even matter.
So what,
like,
do you mean by inheriting? When you say you don't like inheriting, do you mean that as the bloodline or inheriting it from the person you
for
killed?
the person you killed.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant inheritance.
Oh,
like actually
fair enough.
inheriting.
Fair enough. No, sorry.
Okay.
I guess transference I should have said.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
No, fair. I should have said transference.
I was thinking the totally opposite.
Oh,
because-
no, I think the transference is dumb. Like, it sounded like Kano just snuck up behind a guy and slit his throat and then got a mark. And I'm like, well, you don't want him in your tournament. That doesn't sound like a very good fighter. It sounds like a sneaky backstabber. Like,
Right.
if I hit you with a bus, do I get a mark?
Yes, if you intended to, I think.
That's a lot of qualifiers.
Intent is there. And I feel like that's a good way to wrap up that court case real quick. To be like, did she mean to hit him with a bus? And then I just see like the dragon emblem show up on your chest. I'm like, oh yeah, no.
The Mortal Kombat laws say that you did that on purpose.
She did that shit.
So yeah, I just thought that was, I mean, it would make sense to me in the tournament for like, that's how you like go up the ranks. Like you get marks or you collect marks or whatever. But like a pre-tournament world, it just felt kind of silly.
I think it actually.
Because like, what if like two people kill you? What if you get tag teamed? Like,
I agree with you. It's a logistical nightmare.
I don't like thinking about the Excel charts that it would take.
I agree. I agree with you. There might be some tiebreakers, case studies, some fucking problems with it all. Sure. But it feels like the type of thing that the Elder Gods and Outworld would do, and especially Outworld seeming to be this very brutalism, tribalistic type of society where it's just like murder all the time and then only the strongest murderers are left. Never sleep, never let anyone sneak up on you.
Oh yeah, anyone at Outworld I think can win Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I think that that's the idea, to be like, these are the toughest people who, like, you know, no one can even sneak up on you and slit your throat is the idea. Like, you're that level of like, I am a fighter and I sleep with one eye open. Like in Outworld, no one's sneaking up on Natara or Raiko and slitting their throats while they sleep. Like, those are lunatics. One sleeps in the sky and the other just is a hammer. I don't even know his deal. But I think it kind of tracks and I like it.
I don't really like it because I feel like then you could get some real shit fighters in your tournament if you get a bunch of Kanos who are just throat slitters.
Okay. So you're worried.
If you kill someone with a gun, you bring a gun to Mortal Kombat.
There's gun people. Stryker is a Mortal Kombat character who's just, his power's gun. He's just.
I just don't know if you can take that through security.
Right.
Like, what are you allowed to bring in?
But then you get your Arcana, and then you've got some shit too.
The Arcana is different.
Yeah.
That's different.
Okay.
I'm just confused about it all.
I think you're more.
I need to know the magic rules. I want to know our best fighters.
You're getting wrapped up in the law of it, and I think that you are overestimating how many sneaky serial killers there are out there who are sneaky serial killing the most ruthless, actual brutal people in the world.
It's a small pool.
You know what I mean? Like the study of most serial killers are killing vulnerable people, and it's not usually like this serial killer took out 12 SAS officers and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like, no, normally they're kind of picking on weaker prey for the sneaky sneaks. And Kano still, even though he's a sneaky sneak, seems like he can still pretty well handle himself. All like to the 80% the capacity of these other fighters, which is still pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. Maybe you've convinced me.
Yeah, I don't think the sneaky sneak killers are killing that many actual tough people.
I just can't think of. I'm just thinking of worst case scenarios. Like, you're like me, a tiny, untrained woman. You hit Kano with a bus. Now you've got a mark and you have to go to Mortal Kombat. I don't know why I was driving a bus, but I was. And now I have murdered Kano. And I have to go to Mortal Kombat. And I don't want to go to Mortal Kombat.
I would watch this madcap farce movie you're writing. This, like, the wrong guy film that you're writing, where it's just you. The movie opens. It's Liu Kang charging a fireball, and he's like, "You'll never get me, Shang." Move. And it's you, and you're like, "Oh, no." And now Sub-Zero's Shang. I love it.
I've got a mark, and they're like, "You have to train," and they're like, "She's really bad." I'm basically
Mortal Kombat, directed by Lord and Miller, is what this movie is.
I was thinking Chris Farley's The Worst Ninja, or what?
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah, a little bit Beverly Hills Ninja.
He's the chosen one.
Which had Liu Kang in it.
It was a great movie. Actually, it probably wasn't, but I remember Liu Kang was in it, and his hair looked great still. So, all right. So you don't think I'm going to have to fight in the Mortal Kombat?
No, I don't. And your logistical complaint, it is actually giving me strong memories of, I believe it was Predators, the third Predator movie, the one with Adrian Brody.
Oh, where they all had to go to the other planet?
They were all sucked to another planet because they're all of the Earth's best killers, and in different ways.
And Topher Grace is a serial
killer, and he's not particularly useful against fighting predators. But there was some kind of spreadsheet mix-up on the predators.
Who's killed the most people on Earth?
And they're like, we've got a military guy, big gun, military guy. Yakuza swordman. Yakuza swordman stabs. This dude, sneaky sneak. We'll put him in the jungle. And just, that's not particularly helpful, but it was a clerical error to put him there.
And I think it could happen to me.
You're worried that you would be the Topher Grace.
Of the Mortal Kombat.
I understand.
No one wants to be the Topher Grace of the Mortal Kombat, unless that's your movie.
Yeah, you're not. I feel like those stories were told off camera. Because they mentioned that the Outworld people have been killing other people with the mark. Maybe there were a few Dianas out there.
These are all the people Liu Kang showed up to save, and he was like, "Oh, no."
I don't think we could have done much with you anyway.
You weren't gonna be good at this. Hit him with a bus.
Hit him with a bus. Bus, huh?
Bus.
Interesting.
Could happen. Mortal Kombat 2, baby.
Mortal Kombat 2, directed by Lord and Miller.
Johnny Cage gets a mark by hitting someone with a bus.
I love it. I'm all about it. All right, well, let's go in for the close, where we ask the final question of what would you change? So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed, what would you change about this movie? But before we ask that final question, we want to remind you, as we do every week, and if you've already done this, you can skip ahead. If you haven't, don't. You're not allowed. You need to follow, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It's all free stuff. It takes a couple of minutes. It helps us move up the charts. It helps us find new listeners. I know every podcast tells you to do this, and it's tiring. It's getting tiring to hear. But there's a reason that we all tell you to do this, and it's because we need it.
And it only matters that we tell you to do it. Yeah. Those other podcasts, don't even listen to them unless it's the podcast on our network. Only the From Superheroes Network is it important that you rate, review, and subscribe, and leave a 5-star review. We are the most important, and we appreciate it the most.
I'm not going to be as bold and disrespectful to other podcasts as Diana, but you know what? I'm going to say the opposite. Follow, subscribe, rate, review us. Then while you're there, kicking in for a few other podcasts.
Oh, that is kinder.
I'm going to take the opposite energy here, and I'm going to say spread the love, but
and
let us
kind man.
Let us lead the way. Let us get you there first. We're holding your hand. There's one set of footprints in the sand. What is that? That's us carrying you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever, and then you can hang out and leave other podcasts reviews.
That was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Put that on the wall.
Put it up. Put it on the board. So do that. It's a free way to support the podcast. You can also share this podcast on social media. Tell your friends about it. Word of mouth is a great way for us to find new listeners, and that helps support the show. And if you do want to support the show monetarily and get cool bonuses for it, like exclusive episodes of the podcast, you can check out our Patreon. Every month we do a Patreon exclusive episode of the podcast that is just for our hero level patrons. This month, since we've been doing video game movies, we did Double Dragon over as the Patreon exclusive episode.
Super fun.
Super fun, wild energy, a little bit of a different energy you get on the Patreon episodes of the podcast, which is nice. Yeah, just mix it
It's
up,
something
you know?
about like the ad-free, just going for it.
Just getting right into it, you know? And then everyone who's a hero level patron also gets a cool nickname on one of those episodes from Diana, who's carefully thought out cool nicknames.
Cool is a strong word.
Yeah, that's why I use it.
All right.
So look for your cool nicknames over on the Patreon channel. And with Patreon, you can kick in however much you can afford. It can be $1 a month. It can be 5, 10, 15, 20. You know what numbers are. So you can choose a number and you can contribute that on any given month.
Put a $sign first, you're good.
And then another number, you're good. I don't even think you need to put in the $sign because I'm pretty sure the website does it
does
for
it
you.
automatic. It's a good website.
It's a real good website, and you can always cancel or change at any given time if your finances change. So check it out over at patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. That is patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. Patreon.com/fromsuperheroes. And thank you to all of our current patrons and to all of our soon coming future patrons.
Ooh, you know who you are?
Arr.
Question mark. Thanks, current patrons. You know who you are.
You definitely know who you are. And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. Diana, what would you change?
My changes are obvious. They are things I've brought up already. There's a goddamn song, and they don't play it too much because the original movie played it too much.
Right.
It was everywhere. It was all over the place. This one just plays during the final Scorpion fight.
You have to earn it.
You
have to
gotta
earn
get there. You can't just blow your load right out of the gate. Scorpion becomes Louis Tan, obviously. And there's a tournament. I'm sorry. I know you want to do a sequel and you're saving the tournament, but Mortal Kombat is all about a tournament. You bring up the tournament all the time. It's a tournament, there's brackets, whatever. So you have your tournament, and your next movie can be like a play-in bracket for a different world that wants to invade us. I don't know. You gotta mix it up. You'll figure something out. But Mortal Kombat is about a tournament. I don't like this presumption of a sequel. It feels like the end of Warcraft, the movie. I don't like you assuming you're going to get a second one when you haven't been greenlit upon release. So you have to do the tournament off the top. You can save Johnny Cage. I don't mind that. But there has to be a tournament. And I am non-negotiable on this.
Now, do you think the implication at the end of this movie, just to follow it, I agree with all of that. I think those are great ideas. Do you think the implication at the end of this movie, and I don't know the answer to this, is that they need to go get Johnny before the tournament starts? Which in this movie, Liu Kang said was before the next full moon, so there's not much time. Mm-hmm. So do you think the next movie is going to get Johnny for the tournament? Or have they just, by default, won the tournament by killing all of the other fighters?
Oh, they definitely are getting him for the tournament that's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Shang Tsung can just put in whoever he wants. But he really has gone through all of his best guys. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's going to be in the second movie. For him. For our side, we're good.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's definitely still like finding people Shang Tsung's trying to kill.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Shang Tsung will have more guys.
All right.
He might have that resurrection thing that Kano had.
He just might.
Kano might have been like, here you go.
Here we go.
Enjoy that.
I'm back. Take this. Maybe we introduce Shinnok or Quan Chi or there's
I
other.
mean, we haven't gotten to Katana, Sindel.
Yeah, that's true. There is
More
some
ladies.
Yeah. A Mintaro. There's a Minotaur guy. Like, there's a few other things going on there too.
So, yeah.
Jade as well. Yeah, there's
I think we need a lot of ladies.
Noob Saibot. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, I think it's get Johnny for the tournament because we did lose Kung Lao, so we're down at least one fighter.
Right.
So you don't know. I don't know how many you need to fill the brackets.
Okay.
What the numbers are.
And Shang Tsung's just loose at the end of this movie. We've done nothing with him.
No, we haven't stopped Shang Tsung at all.
So he becomes Scorpion.
He becomes Scorpion. There's a tournament. They sing the song.
The song, of course.
Song.
Of course.
Andrew, what would you change?
100% agree with you on the song.
Thank you.
I don't mind that they remixed it in this, but you've got to use one clean, pure, uncut Mortal Kombat, you know? You gots to. Like, the final fight is kind of two fights. And I feel like maybe for the Cole fight when Cole Young, like the MMA fighter, is fighting Sub-Zero, you use the remix. But when Scorpion shows up, you drop the fucking full dime.
When you got two classic Mortal Kombatants,
yeah.
This new guy makes sense for a remix. Like, he's not even from the games.
He's the remix.
He's brand new. He's a remix. But you got Scorpion versus Sub-Zero. That's a Mortal Kombat, baby.
Yeah. So I fully agree with you on the song. I agree with you on He Becomes Scorpion. I don't really care about the tournament rules. It's
infuriating.
It's fun that you're having a good time with that. I think that this movie needs a different end fight. as well, is that it's weird because it is the story of the rivalry between these two clans, and that does build to a head. But Shang Tsung is just kind of loose, and we need a Shang Tsung battle. And he is a character who inhabits this, or who takes in souls. And in the video games, you can like live change him to other characters, so he gets all of their moves and powers.
Makes sense.
So it should be one final fight where Shang Tsung is becoming all of the fighters. And that would be a fun, like, live change switch. We get everyone together in one scene because they're all off doing solo fights as well, which is a fun series of, like, cutaways and, like, simultaneous fights. And that is a good sequence. But then they need, I want to see them all get back together. Come back together like we were in one place doing one final fight together as a group. The Mortal Combatants, or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves.
You want that relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they fight Shang Tsung, and they need to fight someone who has all the powers of everyone they've defeated.
Ah, that's really nice. I like that. And then he can maybe like become Sub-Zero, and that can be this like embodiment of the final fight between Scorpion or something.
Yeah, that could be it. And maybe that's when you drop the real song.
Oh, that's when you drop it.
That's when you drop it.
As long as you drop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fun. I like a good team fight, doing it all together.
Yeah.
And if he's got the power of like everybody's ever eaten, that's still fair.
Yeah, I think it's a totally fair fight. Yeah.
Down with that.
I like that.
I like that.
But you got to do the song. You got to do the song.
We're non-negotiable on
What?
this. We are united
Yeah.
in the song.
In the
front.
song. You've got to do the original song. Why polish a diamond into dust? Like, you just don't do it. It doesn't work like that. Well, that's going to be it for Mortal Kombat.
That's it. That was the Mortal Kombat.
We Mortal Kombated. Thank you so much for listening this week. Next week, we are going to be back, and we are going to be talking about the Netflix original series Jupiter's Legacy.
Ooh, going in
Is it
blind
Netflix or
on
Prime?
that one.
It's
It is Netflix.
It's Netflix. So we're talking about Jupiter's Legacy next week on the podcast. In the meantime, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on Twitter at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can reach me at Words of Diana. Tell me if you need a tournament. I really sincerely want to know. Make me feel not alone.
I'm sure that there are other people who would prefer a tournament style.
Love that. Want to feel it.
I'm not saying you're alone. I'm saying you're weird, but in a fun, interesting way where, like, there's other people who are weird in the same way.
I kind of knew that much at least.
I'm on board. I'm here. I'm here with you.
You're all in.
I'm all in. You can reach both of us at From Superheroes, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.